This show is clean.
Gluten-free.
Pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 774. Hello. Mike Matthews, broadcasting from the last place on Earth, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. Today it is part 2 of my Mike on Mobile into an interview with the Berkeley band Cure for Gravity. Plus, we'll hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley, and we finally have the answer to where do genitals come from? Mike's Daily Podcast. And on the last show, Benita and the disgruntled fiddle player talked about how they love Mike's Daily Podcast each other, though they are politically divergent in just about every way. And then they kissed and things got out of control. Hey, I don't like it, but it happens sometimes on the show where we see things between characters that disturb us so. And now another Mike's Daily Podcast shout of the name of the show. So I wake up this morning and there are Republicans everywhere. They've taken over the world. Podcast. It's a Republican nation. Yeah! So what does that mean? That means that if you're going to be a petulant child and hold your breath till you get what you want, and then you get what you want, then, well, you're going to hold your breath a lot. Hello, look who just walked in. Hello, my God, this is Madame Rootabega, and I don't understand what you're saying. Well, the Republicans, they just held their breath. They didn't cooperate, compromise, or do anything to help the president out, and they won this massive re-election, got the Senate and the House of Representatives. So that just only goes to show in the future, don't compromise, don't try to work with anybody, don't try to get anything to happen in this country. Working together, it's showing our kids how we should behave, petulant children. And it's kind of creepy seeing a bunch of white old men acting like petulant children, isn't it? Michael Matthews, it kind of turns me on. Look, Welsh just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the party attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we are so excited about the fact that Chris Christie's gonna be president in 2016 day.
Yeah, all indications show he's gonna be president. Do you know that? I don't see how that indicates anything, what you guys just described.
No, it's true. What's gonna happen there is everyone's gonna love the Republicans running everything, and they're gonna want Chris Christie to run everything too.
Yeah, he's not a career politician. Do you know that? Now that's the thing, is if anybody says that, then they should immediately quit as soon as they get done what they say they're gonna get done. I'm gonna go to Washington and cut pork. Oh, I cut pork. I'm leaving. Bye.
Mike, why are you trying to cut pork there? Are you trying to make a delicious ham steak?
No. But on another interesting, let's get away from the political and into the scientific. In a study published today in the journal Nature, researchers at Harvard Medical School have begun to unravel how genitals form. Their tools range from standard biomedical techniques such as examining which genes are flipped on during embryonic development to Frankenstein-like surgeries in which they perform surgical transplants to see whether they could trigger genitals to bud in unusual, out-of-the-way spots. Wow, these researchers are so freaky. The researchers found that genitals develop from the same cells that give rise to hind legs in lizards and snakes. Okay, but from a different set of cells closer to the tail area in mammals, which brings new meaning to the expression trying to get some tail. Hey, thank you. Good night. That's terrible. So, despite the different origins, they found the process itself is deeply similar, triggered by the same basic genetic programs and signals. The process is, in turn, similar to the way limbs form, suggesting that genitals and limbs share evolutionary origins. The researchers got interested in this study when they noticed that the cellular program that gave rise to snakes' unusual two-pronged genitalia looked very similar to limb development. Well, what do you think about all this? This, of course, I stole from the BostonGlobe.com. It's where I found that article. But what do you think about this bizarre, interesting revelation about genitalia? Email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email. What do you think about our new Republican world, too? And thing about how we should all try and get along and compromise. Right? Let's give it a shot this time. Which, so much... Or, let's try not to be petulant children. And if we want to hold our breath, let's do it because we're trying to achieve some kind of underwater record. Email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. I read your comments on the section emails from email. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show. And there's also the website, MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com, where you can find links to where to listen to the show in iTunes. Subscribe to the show in iTunes. When I have a new show, you'll get it immediately. You can also comment on the show and rate the show there. That helps our ranking if you do that. More people find out about us. Another great way to help the show is through our Facebook page. Like the Facebook page, and when I post a new show, share it with your friends. More people find out about us that way too. Facebook.com/MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST is where you can find that. There is also at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com links to where to find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spreaker, Mixcloud, Podomatic, Yelp, Tumblr, and Twitter. And another way to help out the show is through the Amazon Deal of the Day. There on the left-hand side of the page, click on that Amazon link to buy whatever it is you want to get through Amazon, and that helps us out if you buy something on Amazon going through MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. So whenever you buy anything on Amazon, make sure to do that to help us out. There's also the daily blog and the daily podcast picture and all my past interviews there at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Speaking of interviews... Here we are with our second part of our interview.
So if you're still listening, thanks for making it through the last track.
Yeah, well, this is on a different day, so they've had a day to recuperate.
Okay.
So they should be listening.
You came back, all right. Excellent.
I stole all of Mark Maron's listeners, all of Greg Proop's, all of Andem Corolla's listeners, so they're listening to us now.
Excellent.
And no pressure or anything.
No, not at all. I'm a huge Mark Maron fan, so that's awesome.
Who else is a big podcast? Oh, This American Life with Ira Glass. Hello, this is Ira Glass. Today, we're talking to Joe.
Can we do Radio Lab with like really cool sound effects and stuff?
Where they talk for like 20 minutes and they haven't said a damn thing because it's all... I am the scientific guy that explains everything that this young guy... Hey, it was really cool. All of a sudden... This guy, he turned into a ghost, and he disappeared, and there was the rapture. We had a
That's a great setup for the next song. No.
We had a conversation about Christian rock music. Maybe that's why the rapture flew into my head.
Yeah, because I think Stryper is like a really big influence of ours.
Right, definitely.
Really.
I need to play you. I have written a couple songs. One of them is God is Embarrassed by Christian Pop Music. I'll have to play that for you before I leave tonight.
Yes, please. I would love the chords or the charts. And
it's only 30 seconds long, so it's
That could be the perfect cover song for us.
The perfect... You want to do that as a cover?
Second cover song?
As a cover song?
Any covers were all original, but we...
Thank you, Chris.
We could branch out.
I could play it on stage dressed as a hot blonde.
Wow. Okay.
But you'd have to squint.
keep the whiskey coming.
Keep the whiskey flowing. And my next question here is, what music projects are you working on right now, Joe?
Cure for Gravity? No.
Anything, I should say Cure for Gravity is doing.
Oh, that's right. That band. We've been working on the new album since spring, pretty much. We went in to start the tracking, and we are kind of winding up towards the latter part of our mixing and whatnot, and we're actually kicking off a Kickstarter very soon. So we're revealing it here for the first time. And we're kicking that off to kind of help raise a little funds to finish up the mixing and the recording, and also kind of prepare for the next touring stuff that we're going to do, because we're going to drop the album hopefully right in the beginning of spring. March, April timeframe is what we're looking at, and so we just need a little bit to help kick us over the finish line. But we've got A number of songs. Well, the stuff that you're listening to, Mike, thank you very much, is all kind of pre-release stuff. So these tracks are not done. So what you're hearing is kind of in progress mixes and tracks that we're putting on the album.
Ooh, a sneak peek.
That's right.
Sort of that like that.
Yeah, it's sneaky and it's a peek, and it's stuff that you haven't heard yet, or maybe you have, but you haven't heard it like this.
It sounds so good, though. Well, I was going to play Push, and there's a great guitar solo in this, Dave.
Thank you very much.
He really is playing the guitar, though.
I actually am. Yeah, that one. I can't rely on the stop boxes for that one.
What inspired this solo? What took you to this particular solo for this song? I don't know if it's going to change, but let's say it doesn't, and we're hearing this interview 30 years in the future.
I think one of the things that inspired it was when we where did we record the overdubs in Noe Valley? We went to the studio, Decibel Records, and they had this great old Vibrolux amp there that I got to turn up to 10, basically. I didn't experiment. I'd always wanted to just, hear an amp turned up all the way, but usually that's way too loud. But since we were in the studio, I had the opportunity to do that, and it just kind of gave that really kind of blasting, overdriven tone that you hear on the recording, and that kind of helped push it in a certain direction.
Loudness is good.
Loudness is good with Fender vintage amps.
And what was who wrote the song? Anybody want to raise their hand for that?
Actually, like Chris was talking about earlier.
Let me put the microphone on your mouth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Can we tape it on there? No. Like Chris was alluding to earlier, when we started this project, it was mostly Joe showed up. That's me, with a bunch of songs that I had written for a completely different project, and thought maybe I'd just staple them on here and see if it worked. And what's really been fun to watch happen, in particular in the last year and a half, is we've really started to find our own sound, and we've written a lot of this together. So Push actually was one of those songs I was mentioning before that we just, during rehearsal, just kind of fell out, the opening parts of that. And I think actually Dave
started the guitar riff, and then I just came in and we just vamped it for a long time. We just played it for a long time, and then we sort of found other sections, and then Joe came back at another time with vocals pretty much done, and we had a song.
And you're Chris the drummer.
I am Chris the drummer.
And your drumming is fun to watch. You've got all kinds of stuff going on, and I was like, bleep you, Neil Peart. I'm having a fun time watching Chris right now.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Neil Peart's a drummer from Canada.
Yeah, he's like the most technical guy ever, so I'm a little scared to live up to that one.
But no, it was fun to watch, and I can't wait to see you play again. I don't know if next time I'll be probably in a bar or something watching you, or in a arena.
Or in a tank top.
All right. I will be in a tank top for you.
All right,
Chris.
It's a deal.
All right, I'm walking away from you slowly, and don't take that personally. But let's play the song called Push. And when I looked at my writing, that kind of looked like Rush, didn't it? I don't know why that would have been pertinent had I mentioned that word.
Pertinent.
Oh! These guys are witty. It's Cure for Gravity on Mike's Daily Podcast.